if you want to take snapshots of the current state of your file system so that you can get back to any of them at a later time and also compare the current state of your file system to what you had when you took the snapshot, Linux has a great solution for that, and probably the most popular tool to achieve that is called Borg Backup. Now, one of the most popular front ends or graphical user interfaces for Borg Backup is Pika Backup. And in this video, we'll see how to set up snapshots using Pika and also how to restore an existing snapshot. So first, I'm going to open my web browser, and the easiest way to install Pika is using Flatpak. So I'll go to flathub.org, and here I will look for Pika. And you can see it as the first result, Pika Backup. This is what we want. And now I'll click here on the small blue arrow, and we can copy this command. Let me open my terminal, and I'll paste it here. And this command will install Pika on our system. So it needs to install a runtime environment. Let's approve with Y and enter. And we need to approve the installation of Pika itself, so Y again and enter. And it's done, and Pika is now installed on our system. Before moving on and start using Pika, I want us to make sure that we have a default keyring. A keyring is not directly related to Pika, but you are going to need a default keyring if you want to create encrypted snapshots. So to do that, I'm going to open the Linux Mint Start menu, and here I'm going to look for keys, and you can see this option, password and keys. Let's open it, and we need to make sure that we have a keyring configured here. So to do that, I'm going to click here on the plus icon, then I'll choose this option, password keyring, and I want to emphasize that you only need to do it if you don't already have a keyring. As you can see, I don't have a keyring, so I need to create it. If you already have a keyring, don't do it. But in my case, I don't have it yet, so let's do it now, and let's create our password keyring. We need to provide a name for the new keyring. I'll just go with KR1. Then we need to provide a password for the new keyring, so I'll type in my password. And it was created, we can see it here, KR1. Now I'm going to right click on it and set as default. And now we have a default keyring, and we should be able to create encrypted snapshots. But because of this change, I'm going to restart my system. If you already had a default keyring, you do not need to restart the computer, but I am going to restart. So reboot. And let's go ahead and start Pika. I can look for it in the Linux Mint Start menu. And here it is, Pika Backup. Now, the first time we start Pika, we need to set up our backup. We are going to need a device to store our snapshots. You can use your local drive, your internal hard disk, or whatever you use, your SSD, but my recommendation is to use some external storage device, and for this demonstration, I'm going to use this. This is a simple USB flash drive, and the idea is that this is an external storage device. Once again, you don't have to use it, but I feel more comfortable knowing that I have the separation between the actual data that I work on and the snapshots that I take on this data, on this file system. So let me go ahead and plug in my USB flash drive, and the USB flash drive was detected. Let's close this window, and let's start our Pika setup. So now we need to choose a location for our backup repository, and this is where the Pika snapshots will be stored. And as you can see, we have a few options here, and I'm of course going to choose my USB flash drive. We can see it here as 250 gigabytes volume, and here it says USB SanDisk. This is what I'm going to choose. And now I want you to notice this warning. Basically, what it says here is that it is recommended that your USB flash drive either uses NTFS or ext4 for its file system. So before moving on, I want to fix that. So let me close this. And before setting up our backup repository, I want to format my USB flash drive. So let me open the disks utility, and here it is, disks. And here we can see the disks that are attached to this machine, and I'm going to choose this one, 250 gigabytes drive, which is my USB flash drive. And you can see that currently I only have one partition on this disk. This is partition 1, and we can see that the file system is FAT, and this is exactly our problem. We want to change it. So I'm going to click here on the gear icon. Then I choose this option, Format Partition. And here we can choose the file system that will be used by this partition, and I'm going to choose ext4. As we saw, it is one of the file systems recommended by Pika, so let's click on Next. And we get a warning that all of the data on the USB flash drive will be deleted. This is fine. Let's go ahead and format the USB flash drive. And it's now being formatted. It will take a minute. Okay, and it's done, and we can see that the file system now is ext4. So let's close the disks utility, and let's try again. So I'm going to click on Setup Backup, and as you can see, it doesn't show us the USB flash drive, and I think that the problem is that it's not mounted. So let me open my File Explorer, and I'm simply going to open my USB flash drive, and this should mount it. Okay, and it was mounted, and now we can see it on Pika as one of the options. So let's close the File Explorer, and I choose my SanDisk USB flash drive. We now don't get the warning because the file system is well supported by Pika. We need to provide a name for our repository. I'll just go with the default name, it works fine for me. And you can also choose a subfolder within the USB flash drive, but I'm just going to go with a top level. Here we can see the identifier of the USB flash drive. This is fine, I'm just going to click on continue. Now, the snapshots can be either encrypted or unencrypted. And since we are going to basically store all of our personal files and configurations on a detachable, removable USB flash drive, it might be a better idea to encrypt these files. You don't have to do it, and if you want to create unencrypted snapshots, just choose this option, unencrypted, and it's completely fine, but it is more secure to create encrypted snapshots, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to choose here encrypted, and I'll have to provide an encryption password. Then we can click on create, and Pika uses the default keyring, so we need to provide the password for the keyring. Then we need to unlock the keyring, and our Pika repository was created. And here I want you to notice two things. Here we need to specify what files we want to back up. By default, it's going to be your home folder. If you want, you can add additional folders to your snapshots. And if on the other hand, you do not want to back up all of the content of your home folder, you can remove the home folder, then choose a subfolder of it. So you have full control here, but I think that for most people, just backing up the home folder is probably the best way to go. So I'm going to leave it the way it is. And here we can define our excludes. So these files are files within the home folder that are not going to be included in the snapshots because as they write here, it's caches. And this is data that can be regenerated when needed. So I think that the default configuration here makes a lot of sense, but of course you can change it based on your needs and liking. Let's take a quick look at the Archives tab. And we can see here that at the moment we don't have any archives available. So let's go ahead and create one. Let's go back to the Backup tab, and let's create a backup of the current state of our home folder. So let's backup now, and it's creating the backup. And as you can see, it's already done, and this is mostly because my home folder is almost empty. Now, in your case, the first snapshot might take a bit longer, but the idea is that following snapshots will be much quicker because they are incremental. Every snapshot builds upon the previous one and only saves the changes relative to it. So what I want to do now is open my home folder in my File Explorer, and let's create here a new folder. I'm just going to call it test. And inside this test folder, I want to create, say, 3 new files. So the first one is going to be 1. So let's create a new document, empty document, and I'm just going to call it 1. And let's write some content in this file, ABC123. And let's duplicate this file 2 more times. Great, and I just named them 1, 2, and 3. And now let's say that I want to know what changes were made to my home folder relative to the snapshot that we took a minute ago. So one very convenient way to go about it is to install a tool called Meld. So let's open the terminal again, and let me quickly make sure that my package list is up to date. So sudo apt update, and I need to type in my password. And now that the package list is up to date, I can go ahead and install Meld. So sudo apt install Meld. Okay, just like this. Okay, and it was installed. So back in Pika, I'm going to choose the Archives tab. And now, of course, we do have one archive. So let's expand this archive. Let's click here. And if we scroll down a bit, we see this option, Browse Saved Files. So let's choose this option. And this is why working with Pika is so convenient, because you use your usual file manager and you can see the state of the folder when the snapshot was taken. So here on the right, I want to go to the current state of my home folder. And as you can see, the snapshot and the current state are very similar, but here we have this folder, test. The thing is that if you have a lot of files and folders, it might not be so easy to spot the differences, and this is why we are going to use Meld. So let's open Meld. So here I'm going to look for it, and here it is, Meld. And I want to compare folders. So I'm going to choose here folder, and here's what we're going to do here. I'm going to go one level up, and just to remind you, this is the view of the snapshot. And here I'm also going to go one level up, and this is the current state of my home folder. So I'm going to drag this folder here to where it says none, and now we can see here the name of the folder. I'm going to drag the current state of the folder here to the other box. So this is the snapshot and this is the current state, and let's go ahead and compare. And let's enlarge this one. Okay, and let me quickly collapse everything. So this and this and this and this. And now it's very easy to see the differences. So first, let's understand what we see here. So here on the left, we can see the snapshot, and as you can see, it has a very long name. And here on the right, we see the current state of this folder. And as you can see, the name here is much shorter and much easier to understand. So first, we can see that we have here the .cache folder, and as you can see, it's green. Why is it green? Because it does not exist here. As you remember, we excluded this folder, the cache folder, from the snapshots, and this is why it does not appear in the snapshot. What other changes do we have here? So the meld tool is very helpful in this regard because it uses color coding for the changes or the differences. So we can quickly spot this difference. Here we have a folder called test. This is the green one, and here it does not exist. So we can quickly conclude that when we took the snapshot, we did not have the test folder, but now we do have it. So I can expand it here, and I can see that it contains new green files. Once again, these files did not exist when we took the snapshot, but they do exist now. So let's close meld for now, and let's take another snapshot of the current state. So let's get back to Pika, and let's go back to the backup tab, and let's create another snapshot. So once again, I'm going to click on backup now, and it's letting us know that it will stop the file browsing. This is completely fine. So let's start backup, and the new backup is now being created. Okay, and it's already done. It really took only a second. So let's get back to the archives tab, and as you can see, we now have two archives. And here's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to change the content of one of these files in the current state. So let's get back to the home folder, which is here, and let's open it. And I'll open my test folder. I want to change the content of this file, the to file. So let's open this file, and let's add some text here. And I now save this file and close it. And now I want to compare the current state to the last snapshot. So first I'll close this. So here from Pika, I'm going to expand the most recent snapshot, which is this one. And we need to scroll down a bit, and let's browse saved files. And here it is. I'm going to go one level up. And since I want to compare it to the current state, I'm going to go one level up here and another level up. These are the two folders that we want to compare. So let's open meld again, and here it is. And I choose folder, and let's drag this folder here and this one here. Here we go, and let's compare. As you can see, we now have a blue dot on the test folder. So let's expand this folder, and we can see that the blue dot is specifically on the to file. So let's double click on to, and here it's very easy to see the difference. So it only took us a few seconds to spot the exact difference between the current state of the file system and the state of the file system when the snapshot was taken. One last thing that I want to talk about is the schedule tab. So let's open the schedule tab, and what this allows you to do is to constantly take snapshots of your file system. So let's try to turn it on. Let's regularly create backups. Then we need to choose the frequency, and as you can see, it can be done daily, or you can choose one of the other options, for example, hourly, weekly, or monthly. And let's say that I want to create a snapshot daily. You need to choose your preferred time, and this way you don't have to create the snapshots manually. You know that every day at the same time a new snapshot will be created, and all of them will be saved here. And if you come back to this list after a few days, you will be able to see a lot of archives here. If you worry that you will end up with too many archives, you can also automatically delete them. And this is why we have this section, delete old archives. I'm not going to turn it on, but you definitely can. And you can also choose how many backups you want to store. So by default, it will keep many. And what do they mean by many? You can click here on details, and this is the amount of snapshots that will be stored. And if you change it, you can keep some. And as you can see, these are lower numbers.